Hello, welcome to the morning show with me, Martin King.
And me, Aisling O'Loughlin. Coming up today, Catherine O'Leary suffers from locked-in syndrome, where the only movement she can make is to blink. After spending years in hospital, her parents had hoped they would finally be able to bring their daughter home, but now these hopes have been dashed.
In the hospital, it is costing $1 million in excess looking after Catherine. It would be a third of that to actually bring her home and have the nursing care looking after her with us.
We're going to be speaking to Catherine's parents shortly.
Also, with a 25-year gap in age, Michael Douglas and Catherine Zeta-Jones' wedding drew cynical comments, but 12 years on, the A-list couple are set to renew their vows. Later we'll be finding out about the Hollywood couples who have managed to make their marriages a success.
Plus, I find out how school children are planning to give a big Irish welcome to visitors to these shores next year for The Gathering.
I want her to come here because I didn't see her in a long time and I really miss her. And I want to show her a lot of places here, a lot of interesting places.
Her can-do attitude won the votes of the judges last night. We'll be catching up with Laura Finnan, who was chosen as the first finalist in Ireland's Ultimate Debutante. But first today, in 2009 we first spoke to Pat and Margaret O'Leary about their desire to build an extension onto their home in order for their daughter Catherine to come home.
Catherine suffers from a rare condition known as locked-in syndrome, where she is paralysed and able only to blink. Her family had hoped they would have her home before Christmas, but now it seems this will not happen.
Current situation at the moment is that we've everything done in the house. We've got an extension put on that costs in the region of 60,000. The house was actually bought from the Department of the Environment for $250,000. That was to bring Catherine home. The total spend on the property was 350,000 plus at the moment. And now we've been told from the hospital that Catherine would be better off going to a step-down facility, which, in my interpretation, a step-down facility would be a nursing home. Now, I just can't understand how they would do that after it taking so long to get everything ready for Catherine. We just don't know where we are at the moment. It's like we're in limbo. It's a complete stop.
Pat and Margaret O'Leary join us now. You're very welcome to the programme.
Thank you.
Margaret, just explain to us, what is her condition? What is locked-in syndrome?
Locked-in syndrome is when the brain is there, it's awake, you're able to hear, see, you want to respond, you want to move, you want to talk, but you can't.
So you're more or less paralysed?
The
physically
only thing
unable to
that
move.
usually is able to work for you is your eyes.
But she can smile?
She can smile and she can cry. She can react to pain, to heat, to cold. If somebody makes a loud noise in the ward, as in opening the bin and banging it, she'll jump out of her skin, so she can hear. She looks up at the photographs above her on the ceiling, above her bed, and she scans them. And sometimes she smiles at them, sometimes she just looks, sometimes she cries at them. On top of having locked-in syndrome now, Catherine also has hypoxia.
And what is hypoxia?
Hypoxia is where Catherine has had lack of oxygen, suffered lack of oxygen to the brain. So her brain has shrank a little bit, so she's gone steps back to what she was before.
Pat, Catherine has been in hospital now for nearly 5 years. I mean, that is a serious amount of time. What kind of toll has this taken on you and your family?
What has it done to us? It's made us very strong. You know, in about 14 months ago, unfortunately, just for myself, it took its toll on me. You know, I had a heart attack and I had 3 stents put into my heart. I was in intensive care for 7 days, but all I wanted to do was to get back up and straight down into Catherine. You know, that was my goal, you know. And thank God I'm here today and I'm in the best of health and still fighting for Catherine.
You're a dedicated couple and a dedicated family because, Margaret, you're with Catherine how many hours a day, how many days a week?
7 days a week. I leave the house about 10:15 in the morning. I leave the hospital at about 2:30, 20 to 3 in the afternoon. And then Pat comes in and he takes over. Some days my son Simon, he'll come in around about 20 to 2. He'll stay for the hour and let me go home, which I prefer him not to, because I'd like to be there a bit longer to give this man here a bit more of a break. Because my husband comes in, then Pat will come in at supposed to be 2:30, but he's in there for about 2:10.
I would imagine that this is your life.
It's become our life.
Yeah.
I call the hospital sometimes, I get mixed up and say, I'm going home.
I would imagine that this is what you talk about. Is it the first thing that crosses your mind when you open your eyes?
Yeah.
In the morning. The first thing before we go to bed, we're talking about Catherine. When we wake up in the morning, we have to, you know, we can't ring the hospital until a certain time because they are very busy in there, you know. The nursing, you know, it's very hard actually now for the nursing staff, you know. I mean, it's so hard now, you know, and they're very short-staffed in the hospitals at the moment, you know, with the cuts and everything.
But from an early stage, you go in and you actually will tend to Catherine.
Oh yeah, I mean this is what I really like doing. I mean I'm able to do everything with Catherine. I trained in the hospital to do all Catherine's suctioning from her tracheotomy. I do all her peg care, whereas I do her flushes and I clean the peg side. And I put up her feeds, and I trained to do that as well. I was trained in the hospital to do that. The same with her suprapubic catheter. They were going to train me how to replace that, which will be a lot easier for when Catherine comes home. I'm going to say when Catherine comes home, because this is our ultimate thing that we want, is Catherine to come home. And
you've made so many provisions for her to come home over these past few years, because the last time you were on the show, I think it was 2009, you got a huge surge of generosity. People came from all corners to help you out.
Unbelievable.
Will you tell us about that?
People.
It was fantastic. I mean, people have helped us for the last 5 years, and they're still helping us.
People of Ireland have been brilliant.
And they've absolutely
we
been
couldn't
brilliant.
have come this far without, could we?
No.
Without knowing that they weren't there for us, for Catherine.
And you know, people still phone us up, and after all these many years, and how is Catherine, and what is happening with her? Is she still here? People come into the hospital and they see Catherine and they say, oh my God, is that Catherine? They come over and they talk. It's good, it's fantastic for us, because at least we, you know.
Yeah. Well, Irish people we're known for our generosity and generosity of heart. Last time you were here, you were trying to get a loan from the bank so that you could modify your then home so that you could bring her home.
Yeah.
But now you've gone to the point where you've moved.
We had to.
Yeah. We actually moved into a bungalow that was bought from the Department of the Environment in conjunction with Clúid Housing. And the actual extension that was put onto it is fantastic. Everything is there. I mean, you've got the hoist in the ceiling, which is fantastic. I mean, we're very lucky that we're in a position to actually have all this and to be able to say, you know, now we're a step closer in getting Catherine home. But
and in fairness, you were led to believe that she was coming home, so that expectation was there.
Yeah, we were told, yes, she was coming home.
So really what you want to provide for her
is
is
just
just
going
normality.
ahead. Yeah,
normality. You know, like normality, in Catherine hasn't had a shower in 4.5 years. She hasn't had a shower. And there's provisions now in our house so that a shower bed can be wheeled into the wet room and she can have her first shower, which will be it must be going to be fantastic for Catherine to feel water on her face, on her body, you know.
Well, I'm sorry, but she does feel water on her head
She
every
does.
Saturday.
I mean,
Every Saturday.
Myself and her godfather, we wash her hair together because I don't allow this man in the mornings. He would, but I don't allow him.
she's watching me.
What would you do to her hair? That's the thing.
We wash her hair
Protecting
together, and I
Catherine.
try and leave her in the shower for us. Well, her head goes back in the wheelchair, and her uncle, her godfather, holds the head. And I try for as long as I can to leave the shower, the water just fall. Natural for her to feel it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and we have a portable monitor that just goes onto her finger. It's battery operated. A very kind nurse gave it to her last year for Christmas.
You've been given you've been given an awful lot of equipment so that you can make your home ready for her to come home. But now you've been told that she's going to head to a step down.
What they actually said was, they said in a letter that we received, it said that Catherine's welfare would be better off in a step-down facility. Now, my interpretation, I always believed that Catherine was coming home because we worked so hard for this over the last 2 years. It's taken 2 years for this to happen. Purchasing the bungalow, doing the extension, getting planning permission, you know, because there's a lot of things and there's a lot of people involved in this. You've got an OT, an architect, you've got the Cork County Council coming down, checking everything. And, you know, we're only 1 week away completion. You know, we've had a lot of, I mean, Dulux Paint, the company, have sent an interior designer down. They just wanted to do it. They wanted to paint Catherine's bedroom for nothing. They wanted to have it nice for her. You know?
Well, we have something here that was sent to us, and it reads: step-down facilities provide 24-hour care for non-acute medical patients of all ages who require full-time care and whose needs are greater than those that can be met in their own home environment, but less than the needs of an acute hospital setting. The care is provided by a team of staff who have particular skills to meet the clinical and emotional needs of the patient and to work with their families. A range of services, such as the ones you've just been talking about, are provided in these facilities depending on each individual patient's needs.
Now, that statement comes from the HSE. Do you think, if it is a step-down facility, do you think ultimately she is coming home from the step-down facility?
I don't know.
You
We
don't
don't know
We
what
haven't-
step down is,
You know,
because
it's not.
we were told before there was a discussion that they were going to try and move Catherine out of the CUH to some other place, like a home or something. But there's not a place in the country that will take Catherine.
Because they haven't got
With the way
the
she
care,
is.
they haven't got the nursing care to look after. It's only nursing care. Catherine don't need no medical care. It's only nursing care. And I mean, we have been going through for the past 7 months with the outside community care. We've met Catherine's GP. We've had meetings with him. The outside community care manager has been down to see would he take over Catherine's care when she left the hospital. Yes, he will. No problem whatsoever. And I mean, all this was being done, and the actual care plan was being put in place for Catherine to be released once the building work was completed.
But of course now you're in limbo.
In
But
limbo.
We will follow this with great interest, and we hope that there'll be a happy resolution.
And thank you very much for having us here again.
Thank you.
That's
I'm
all
seeing
we
the pain
want,
you're
is
going
for
through.
Catherine to come home.
I know.
That's all.
Let's hope the next time we meet,
Got
Catherine
some
will be
good
home.
news for us.
Let's hope so.
Okay.
Let's hope so.
Thank you. For
Thank you
coming
very
in.
much.
Now, A-listers are known for their breakups, but what about those who have managed to make their marriages a success? We'll be finding out about some of these after the break. Now, of all things Hollywood is known for, long-lasting marriages is not one of them. You might remember Kim Kardashian and Chris Humphrey's 72-day marriage.
But there are still some celebs who seem to be going the distance. Yvonne Hogan, editor of the Irish Independent Weekend magazine, joins us now. We have one celebrity couple who are renewing their vows, but we don't really know if this is a good or a bad thing?
Well, renewing your vows is very, very popular in Hollywood, and it's something that happened, like, couples seem to do it every couple of years, some do it every year. And Catherine Zeta-Jones, who's now 43, and Michael Douglas, who's 68, are approaching their 12th anniversary, and rumours are they're planning to renew their vows in Bermuda at Christmas.
And nobody thought it was going to last this long in the first place.
No. Well, there's quite a big age gap there, but they've been through an awful lot together. I mean, he had his cancer, and then she came out and said she had bipolar last year, and like, they've been through the mill.
Wasn't it suspected that it was what they had been through as a couple and as a family that had brought on this bipolar?
So they had such a stressful time, and now they're going to renew their vows. But in the past, renewing the vows has symbolised the death of a marriage, dare I say it?
Well, it's a mixed bag. Now, there's some people who renew their vows and they live forever and ever happily ever after, but Kim Kardashian and Chris Humphries actually managed to renew their vows within their 72-day marriage. They did it on the Ellen show.
Yeah, but that was a whole parody of...
The whole thing was just nonsense. I mean, they were practically telling us there it was a bit of a joke, but they renewed their vows on TV and got even more column inches and airtime. And
let's not give them another second, will we?
But hang on, before we move on, they made between the pair of them, they made a sizable amount of money out of their 72-day marriage.
But that story, I think, is going to get more and more interesting. I'm obsessed with keeping up with the Kardashians, and I was watching an ad recently, and they were all getting subpoenas from Chris Humphries, the family, in the next on the car. So I'd say that story will run and run. I would say the Kardashians made a lot of money. Chris Humphries, I wouldn't. I think he went into it kind of in good faith. But I'm very naive. Anyway,
Heidi and Seal.
Heidi and Seal.
That was a real marriage. They looked like they were in love with each other.
They've a rake of children, and every year they used to renew their marriage vows. Now, I couldn't believe it. They were only married for 7 years. It seems like a lot longer, probably because every year they renewed their vows. And
they were annoying, though, weren't they?
Very annoying. Well, I find her very annoying. I think she's intensely annoying. Him, I don't really mind.
Well, didn't they have different themed anniversary parties when they would get married again?
Yeah. For God's sake. Yeah, with the kids there and everything. But the last time that it was the 7th year of their marriage, and they split up not long after, and it looks like their divorce is getting kind of acrimonious. But every year they used to go down to the beach and have a big party and then go off for an hour, and the two of them would sit on the beach and look into the sea. And
and they were way too public about how much they loved each other.
Yeah.
And they would take the children with them for that hour as well, so that they could all look into the sea.
So they didn't
together.
have to talk to each other, probably. Bring the kids.
Didn't J-Lo and Mark Anthony, did they renew their vows as well?
And their 6th wedding anniversary, they had an Art Deco themed renewal ceremony, but it was actually their 3rd one in the 7 years they were married, and they split later that year. So they did it 3 times as well in 6 years, which is about once every 2 years.
Okay, so far it is a sure sign that things, in fact, aren't going that well.
It can be. I mean, why would you bother if everything's going well? But then again, there are couples who are still together who've done it, like Posh and Bex. In 2008, they celebrated their 9th anniversary.
No, I as much as I'm not a fan of hers, because I really believe that if anything, she hindered his football career. No, she did. I'm sorry, folks.
Ridiculous.
She did. The guy stopped doing his afternoon training as soon as they hooked up. Anyway, we move on. All right, and that's known and that's well on record.
He could have if he wanted to. She wasn't stopping.
He's a mind of his own, Martin.
That's a debate for another day. But somebody didn't like living in Manchester too much, and it wasn't him. All right.
You're not bitter.
Well, no. Anyway, he did pull out all the romantic stops.
He did. He's an old dote. Like, was their 9th wedding.
He's a lot to feel guilty about as well.
Maybe the football career, probably. Yeah, an upsetting Martin.
That's the least.
But on their 9th wedding anniversary, they were on a trip to Paris, and he had set up this whole renewal ceremony, and he had a white Dolce & Gabbana dress on the plane. Obviously, it was their own plane. It wasn't like Ryanair. And she didn't have to change on the plane. But he organised this big, huge renewal ceremony. She knew nothing about it. And they're still together. That was, 4 or 5 years ago? So it worked for them.
I think they are in it for the long haul, though, too. I'd be very surprised if they ever separated.
There's rumours now that she's having another baby.
Oh.
Yeah.
Then? They're running out of place.
He'll
now,
never get
exactly.
back to Manchester.
Well, she
now.
makes it look very easy,
Yeah,
doesn't she?
she does, yeah.
One woman who made it look quite difficult, actually, was Mariah Carey.
Well, she was very
and Nick Cannon.
honest. I liked that about her, like, you know, and she got nice and fat, which we like
Yeah,
as well.
but she's having twins.
Exactly, yeah. But I think they're a very strong couple as well. They renewed their vows in Paris as well for their 4th wedding anniversary, and they had a big ceremony overlooking the Eiffel Tower, and they
She's
wore
such
white.
a diva.
She is, but I think he suits her. Like, I'd say he just calms her down and laughs at her. But I mean, that was last year, or earlier this year.
So it had to be on the Eiffel Tower.
Yeah.
The very
It had to
tippy
be.
top.
The very top of the
Yeah.
Eiffel
Took over
Tower.
the whole
Well,
lot.
it's Mariah Carey.
And
you know?
what was her name or something involved in the restaurant they went to, or was that something I picked out of the Sky and Shuttle?
I don't know.
I don't know where you got that one
I
from.
don't know where you got that one.
What
But
about-
another diva would be Beyonce.
Beyonce.
Oh, right.
Beyonce and Jay-Z. So they're only married a week. But they renewed their vows with a midnight renewal ceremony and a massive guest list with like Oprah, a big, huge. Because I
Should we
wanted you
be
to bring
worried?
presents. Do you have to bring presents if you're invited?
I
Again,
wouldn't
like.
imagine so.
If you're that
it's a
rich,
renewal.
if you're that rich,
Yeah.
you would bring a present. I can't imagine Oprah turning up at one hand longer than the other.
Yeah.
Do you know?
But they had a big renewal ceremony because they wanted to involve their daughter. I think her name is Blue Ivy or something.
Yeah.
Blue
Yeah.
Ivy. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what they did
Odd
this
name.
year.
But again, I can see them going the long haul.
Yeah, I think they're quite a sensible couple.
And they're both involved in the music industry.
Yeah.
They've got an awful lot going on, even before
Yeah.
they married.
But
Both
their
of them.
body language as well, you can tell a lot from their body language because part of our job in the magazine doing these features is getting the pictures. And a few of the couples that had split up, it was very hard to find a picture of them together. They were kind of walking away from each other. But I think Jay-Z and Beyonce and Mariah and Nick, they all have very natural pictures, you know, you can tell a lot from the body language as well.
Okay, another thing that's always an indicator is the way couples hold hands.
Yeah.
Always an indicator as to whether or not it's...
Why? What's the difference now?
Well, what I'm told is that if you're holding hands and the fingers are locked,
Yeah.
that is the sign of a good relationship and a close relationship.
Or a
Whereas
vice
if it's
Yeah,
like that,
or controlling.
if it's like that,
Yeah.
merely friends.
Okay.
See, everybody
Yeah.
now is going to be examining
Exactly.
if they hold hands,
Go home and
if they
test your
hold hands at
husband.
all.
Yeah.
And if you take a look at different pictures from different couples, you'll
Yeah.
see
I think they're
this.
better off just not renewing their vows, have one wedding, and maybe in around 20 or 30 years, then start renewing the vows when
Yeah.
they've
Well,
properly
it's not-
done the distance.
It's normally on landmark anniversaries, like 20th, 25th.
Or after illness. Remember Ozzy Osbourne and Sharon, they
Yeah,
renewed
fair
their vows
enough
after he
then.
was sick.
You
And
can't
like I think Catherine Zeta-Jones and Michael Douglas is kind of a similar, you know, they've been through all this and they've come out stronger. But I think, I don't know, I think if you're married once you should...
It's enough for
It's
anybody.
enough. Happy anniversary. Go for dinner.
Yeah.
You know.
Anyway, like you said, between Catherine Zeta-Jones
Yeah.
and Michael Douglas, they have been through an awful lot, so
Yeah.
it might be good. Anyway, this weekend, we're all looking forward to the weekend and to the magazine.
We've
What
a great
were we reading
magazine.
about?
Great magazine this week. We've got a lovely 2 fashion spreads. You know, party season is starting, and we've got an
course.
excellent excerpt from a book by Angela Doyle, whose sister was murdered a couple of years ago.
Okay.
It's really, really good read, and the usual food, fashion, style, and
The whole lot
rest.
coming up. And it's nearly your time up, well, for a few months at
Yeah,
least, while you go on
yeah.
maternity leave.
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is your last day with us for...
It is, yeah.
For we don't know how long.
I know. Well, we'll see now how efficient I am, you know.
Well, we couldn't let you go without saying thank you very much.
You're too good.
Because when Wednesdays come round, we always look forward to you sitting down because you
thank
make us
you.
smile.
We are going to miss you,
thank you
Yvonne.
so
and we
much.
will miss you.
Oh, I miss you too.
And we wish you the very best. You're going to have a lot of fun, a lot of
Oh,
sleepless
thank
nights
you.
too, but it'll
Yeah.
be brilliant and it'll be worth it.
Well, I'll keep you posted. I'll be writing about it in the magazine anyway, so nothing's sacred with me.
Excellent.
Well,
Like
you've been
that.
writing about it up till now, so why change?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Oh, thank you very much. I
Well-
missed you too.
Well, best of luck.
Thank you.
Okay, and
Thank
we'll be
you.
thinking of you. All right.
After the break, how school children here are preparing to give a big Irish welcome to visitors next year, and we meet the first Irish finalist in Ireland's Ultimate Debutante.
Now, some 70 million people worldwide claim Irish ancestry, and with that in mind, the gathering is inviting those with links to this country to visit our shores next year.
It's all set to kick off on New Year's Eve with a spectacular festival in Dublin. In the meanwhile, there are invites to be sent out, with schools being encouraged to muck in. As most of us know at this stage, there's something of a gathering taking place in this country next year. So we have come out to the 6th class of St Oliver Plunkett Primary School in Malahide, County Dublin, to find out how they're getting involved.
The gathering, it's a year-long celebration of being Irish in Ireland next year, and the whole world, everybody's invited. And what's different about the gathering is all these gatherings that you and everybody can organise and come to next year. So what we want you to do is make a list. Firstly, make a list of everyone you know overseas, and it could be family, it could be friends, it could be groups or associations that you know overseas, that you know your GA club might know a club playing in France, say for instance. And what we want you to do is invite all those people over for a great celebration next year.
Now, Alex, you have brought in some photographs of who you're sending out your invites to. Who are these two people?
Well, this boy here is Ivo, and he's 2 years old. And that's Marika, and she is 5, and they both live in Switzerland.
And are they related to you?
Yeah, they're both my first cousins.
That's my mom's cousin Sue and my cousin Fiona, and she's 20.
OK, now that looks like a sunny place where they are. She's wearing sunglasses. Where is it?
Australia, Melbourne.
Oh, lucky them. Now, Patricia, I see you have written your letter here in a language I don't understand. What is it?
It's Romanian.
Oh, it looks lovely. Will you just read the first 2 lines for us there?
Okay. Draga Violeta, ce mai faci? Mi-este foarte dor de tine. Îți scriu o scrisoare din cauza că la școală facem un lucru care se cheamă The Gathering.
Oh, that is just gorgeous. And you have it translated into English here,
Yeah.
so just translate it for us.
So, dear Violeta, how are you? I really miss you. I am writing a letter to you because at school we are doing this event at school called The Gathering.
Oh, it just sounds beautiful in Romanian.
Thank you.
And who are you writing to?
I'm writing to my auntie Violeta.
And where is she?
She's in Italy at the moment.
And what is your plan for your Aunt Violetta?
Well, I want her to come here because I didn't see her in a long time and I really miss her. And I want to show her a lot of places here, a lot of interesting places.
We were learning this morning how to write an old-fashioned letter and how to set it out properly, and then we were also learning how the difference between an email and how that's laid out properly now as well.
Whatever about your class, what about yourself, Mr. Malloy? Who have you sent an email or a letter to?
Well, I'm very involved in amateur dramatics, and we have an idea that we're going to bring maybe a group from Canada or from England over to Rush. That's where I'm associated with the Millbank Theatre in Rush, and that we bring an amateur group over here and let them see an Irish play being performed, and possibly ask them to do likewise as well. So that's our idea.
That's such a good idea. And Scott, who are you writing to?
To my granddad in America.
Your granddad's all the way in America. Where is he in America?
In New York City.
Oh, great city. What are the chances of them coming back, do you think?
Maybe.
We've got a maybe. We've got a few maybes, so we need to get some definites in here, don't we?
Yeah.
Now we have a definite over here. Tell us your plan, Catherine.
My nanny and my grandfather are coming over from New York in November and maybe sometime next year.
Okay, and when are they going to come over, do you think?
I think sometime in April, because we're making a confirmation then.
Visit any time during 2013. I also invited Auntie Elaine and the new baby and Mamadou, so we can all have a family reunion.
Do we have any idea how many people might be coming to these shores next year and how much money it'll generate for the economy?
We have very ambitious targets, but we've no doubt that they'll be met, of bringing an extra 325,000 people, and that's estimated that'll bring in about an extra 70 million in economic return next year.
So already the economic forecast is looking somewhat sunnier for 2013. Yep, it's all happening here next year. Now, what does it take to become Ireland's ultimate debutante? Well, we're beginning to find out because one of the finalists in the new TV3 show was selected last night.
Now, before we meet that lucky contestant and one of the judges who said she was an easy choice, let's take a look at the moment last night when Laura Finnan got the nod.
This discussion wasn't easy for us. You all brought something so different to this competition, and I have to say there was a lot of arguments about who we were going to put forward. I think we've picked the strongest person who will be able to take on the other 3 girls in the final.
At the end of the day, I hope each and every one of you will bring away something positive from this experience.
You all are really representing your own personal taste and you look absolutely stunning.
So now, girls, it's time to reveal the winner, who will be going on to the final of Ireland's Ultimate Debutante. The winner is... Laura.
And Laura Finnan and Courtney Smith from the show's judging panel join us now. You're very welcome. Laura, you must have been delighted when they said your name last night.
Oh, I was ecstatic. I just couldn't believe it. I was just in awe. I was in shock.
And why did you take part in the first place?
I just took part in the first place just for a bit of fun, and it was an experience as well. I didn't even dream of getting it, and when I got it, it was such a surprise.
Because it's stressful enough trying to, because I've watched my own children getting set for Debs and my own daughter getting set for Debs, so there's a fair amount of work involved. To invite some television cameras in as well is an extra stress. Did you even entertain just how stressful that might become?
Sort of. I just kind of was so excited that they were actually coming. I was like, no, they're not coming to my head. Then I was like, oh God, they are. But you didn't even notice them when they were there.
You don't really get stressed out at all, do you?
No, I'm kind of an easy flow person.
Yeah, she seemed to take it in her stride, actually.
And Courtney, you were looking out for style on the show, and as we can see, Laura's got great style even from what she's wearing here today. But during the course of the show, why did you pick Laura?
I think Laura in particular really went for her own personal style, and that was what I wanted to get across, because my own personal taste will always be different to different girls and different debutantes. So I wasn't going for who I thought was the most stylish. I was going for the girl that I thought represented her own personal style the most. And Laura is quite girly, and she brought that across with her beautiful pale pink dress.
We have the dress here,
which is absolutely stunning on her. But also, I loved the fact that she showed off her tattoo, because for a Debs or for a ball, most people cover up tattoos or anything like that, and she showed hers off with pride, and I just thought, yeah, that's cool. I'm gonna vote for her.
And Laura, what is your tattoo of?
It's a guardian angel.
And tell us when and why did you get it done?
I got it done for my 16th birthday without my mother's permission.
So she's delighted.
Okay.
But I got it done for my dad after he passed away, so it's nice. Just
special meaning for you.
Special meaning. Yeah. Guardian angel on your shoulder.
Yeah, looking over me.
Okay. Tell us about the escort, the date.
Oh, the man.
The man.
Very special man.
Yeah, his name is Connor. Connor Byrne. Yeah, he's. We were going out for a year about that time, about a year and 2 months. So he's been in my life and for ages. So he was just great. He was the calm person. He's kind of the reason why I'm so easy flowing and not stressful at all.
And I noticed, Courtney, one thing that surprised the judges last night was Laura's approach to buying the dress, because you just said, right, I don't care how much this costs, I'm going to have a really good night and I'm going to make sure I look my best. But I noted the judges' reaction was like, oh, that's a bit of a surprise.
Yeah, it was a bit of a surprise because she is so carefree. We kind of thought she'd be one of those girls who was like, oh, I'll get any dress, like I don't really mind. But and then when she kind of talked through what the dress meant to her and what the night meant to her and how it's such a special occasion, and you know, she wanted to spend that little bit more money, and we were like, you know, fair enough, you can do that, and it is one night only, but you wanted to feel $1 million and you looked it, so.
And of course you work anyway as well, so you are earning your money too.
I've recently given up my job now since I've started college, but yeah, I was kind of just more independent now when I have money of my own. And like, you know, if I have money, I'll buy my own things. And
how much did you spend on the dress?
Well, I got told a fib about the dress. I got told that it's a certain price, and showing the dress on TV, I would get a discount. And that discount was only like 10, 20 euro.
Ah, come on.
Yeah, so
really
in other words, minuscule. Okay.
Yeah, so it was like more than I actually thought it was going to be.
It's a bit of a shocker.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it looked fantastic.
Yeah, it was
Thank you very much.
One of the lovely things about this programme, Courtney, is that it actually paints a picture of teenagers, you know, the way we like to see them, and it also, you know, for the likes of Laura and the other girls who we saw last night, You know, not all teenagers are bad.
Yeah. No, do you know what? That was one of the main reasons I actually agreed to be involved with the show, because I'm tired, and I'm young, and I'm tired of looking at shows like Jersey Shore and Geordie Shore where they're out getting drunk all the time or partying all the time. When I was told about this show and how it was really going to focus on all the good things that the teenagers were doing and highlight, you know, working part-time or all the charitable things they do, and really highlight that part of it, and also highlight the side of the Debs, which isn't the party side, highlight the coming up to it, kind of in an old school way as well. It's a coming of age programme. So it's the process getting to your Debs, it's about your escort, your dress, your family, and that's what I really liked about the show.
And Laura, as a young person, does it bother you when you see how young people are portrayed in the media, and also the perception people have of young people getting drunk all the time and just being pretty shallow?
I'm more of like a really quiet person myself, and I hardly ever go out if it's only a special occasion. But I think the image is out there, like even for young girls, like watching some of the shows that are on TV, they're like, are just, because you can't believe, like, you know, if that was their parents, like.
I know, the scary thing is people will look at the shows that we've just been talking about and think, oh, that's okay. And it isn't. Okay. One of your pastimes is falconry. How did that start? When did that start?
Well, my boyfriend's uncle owns a falconry centre in Ratwood, and he brought me over to it one day, and I just fell in love with the animals. I'm very new to it, but I just loved it. It was just so nice. We have
a feature on every couple of weeks called Birdwatch, and we've spoken about birds like falcons, and those beaks are pretty sharp, and so are the claws. So you need to be extra careful when you're doing that work.
You got the right gear on anyway, that's for sure.
That was one of the things actually that stood out with Laura, because she had such unusual pastime that we were like, it did make you stand out from the other girls a little bit last night, and did kind of catch our eye, which is probably one of the reasons that she won.
And Courtney, the competition isn't over yet. In fact, it's just started.
Yes.
So ultimately, what are you looking for?
Ultimately, we're looking for a role model. We still don't really know what that is. We don't know all the little things that make Ireland's ultimate debutante, and I think we're going to discover that as the competition goes on with each individual girl and what they bring to the show. But we're looking for a role model, somebody who can, you know, younger girls kind of look up to when they're going into their Debs, and younger girls can look at the show and go, okay, that's what I want to aspire to be like.
And Laura, what did it mean to you that night? I mean, was it a significant night to you, or was it like any other night where you go out and get dollied up?
It was just it was such a special night to me personally, because it was last time that me and my friends from school were together, and it was just really emotional, as well as, like, you know, there was that part of, there was the TV3 and the whole day. But then I had to concentrate on that this is probably the last time I was going to see some of the girls that I went to school with and some of the lads. So it was a really special night to spend with them.
How were your whole family about the fact that there's television cameras coming into the house and this whole event is going to be filmed?
Oh, they were in shock. I think when I told my mum, like, I think she cried a bit. But
and your granny cried. That was so
gosh.
cute when she saw how beautiful Laura looked. She shed a few tears.
Yeah,
That
she
was
kind of
such a lovely moment.
She kind of just dashed in front of the camera.
That was very sweet.
Well, the fact is, you're in the final. Yeah, and that's another day out and another event that we can look forward to. So, Courtney, the weeks ahead are going to be some very interesting ones.
Some really interesting ones, yeah. I mean, last night we saw some 3 amazing girls. Laura just stood out that a little bit more, and there's a few more amazing girls to come. So, yeah, it's definitely one to watch.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming in and telling us about it, and congratulations, Laura.
Oh, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. And to keep up to date on the progress of the contestants, the programme airs Wednesdays at 8 here on TV3.
And don't forget, if you have missed any of the programme, you can catch it online at tv3.ie/3player. On tomorrow's show, we hear from a couple whose initial joy at being told they were expecting identical twins soon turned to anxiety when they learned their unborn babies were diagnosed in the womb with twin-to-twin transfusion syndrome. That means the blood of one baby transfers to the other, putting both lives at risk. Their parents, Debbie and Gary Devan, will be sharing their story tomorrow.
Midday Girls are up next. We'll see you back here tomorrow morning at 11. Until then, bye-bye.